For the record, we may or may not make some mouth noises that may or may not cause your panties to get into a bunch. You know what? That's your problem, not mine.
This is Polyaskery Podcast, and today we're going to be doing a special episode on the release for our music producer, Jason Comeau, and his partner, Jay Crofutt. And I am joined today by Jeannie as well. And so this is going to be kind of a cool episode. It's going to be kind of a thing, and you know, it's not going to be just about polyamory. It's going to be about music and marijuana, most likely, and you know, whatever the fuck we decide to talk about. Jeannie, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I'm actually really pleased to have both our composer and his partner in crime available to talk to us this morning, because I'm really, really excited about this new album coming out.
I'm not, but that's okay.
You should stick to calling those both partners, just to see, like, if anyone gets confused by that.
Okay.
His partner. His partner.
Your partners.
I did that intentionally as well.
There will actually be people listening to this that will be confused, because there's still people out there who think we're one person.
Yeah.
Well, you're the front man for the band, right, Jay?
He basically gets more people talking to him thinking that I'm him. That's what happens, right? Like, they just write to you, and then you're just like, you just roll with it.
I'm like, hey, thanks. I used to correct them, but now it's just too much work. So I'm like, yeah, thanks, appreciate it.
This is like, fuck it.
And what's funny about that, between all the things that I've done on my own, as far as, like, well, not my own, of course, Jay's helped with a lot of the other stuff too, but you look at my emails that are associated with those accounts, podcasting and YouTube or whatever. Nobody talks to me. And I figured out why. It's because they all talk to him.
Like, dude, Jay, that music was awesome. How did you do that one thing with the bass riff? And you're like, So I was high one day.
I was high one day, and I just took one of those little
instrument things,
toothbrush, ran it across the strings, and it sounded beautiful. So I rolled with it.
I feel like
all the glory goes to God, though. So that's what made it happen. It's your way of saying I'm in love with myself, but not really, because there's someone else that I love more.
Right.
Okay. So who is the musical person between the two of you?
Oh, definitely me.
Yeah, definitely Jay. I just basically, I'm writing a book about him, and so I've just been following him around, and he'll be like, what does this sound like? He leaves me all these voice messages, so it's so fucking annoying. Like, I'll be just in my at work, you know, in my desk, and beep, I get all these beeps. Everyone's looking at me like, what the fuck's going on? Are you a drug dealer or something? Like, this is scary. Workplace violence is a serious thing. Like, no, it's just my bandmate. He messages me these fucking dumb things, and he repeats himself. I swear to fucking Christ, if he talks about the bass one more time, I'm gonna quit.
Oh my God, Jay, I totally hear you. Hang on. I'm done.
Actually, it is kind of funny, because like when he does leave me stuff, I'd like to. Like, if I'm in, like, in the middle of, like, Walmart or something like that, I'll blast my phone up as high as it'll go, and I'll play one of his voice things, hoping that, like, one of his first words is, man, I'm high as fuck, and I just don't know what...
And you've gotten a lot of those messages, too. I'm scared.
They never disappoint in a crowded room, I tell you that.
So,
because I get so pumped up because I'll be in my car driving home and I'm bored and I'm like, I'll get mad about something. So I'm like, fuck, and it's exciting. Yeah.
Well, Shane and I have worked with you a little bit, so we are not unfamiliar with this working motif.
I look at my phone whenever we're talking and everything like that, and I'm usually with people around me, and I don't play your voice mails whenever you send them because I'm like, I don't want to be rude to the people around me.
And you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Here's the problem. You ask anybody that I know, even if they don't know me that well, and they will tell you I leave messages, but it's because I have a lot to say sometimes, and I just can't type, or I'm driving, or I'm at work, so I got to say all these things. But my problem is, the reason why I leave so many voice messages is because either I forget that I sent you one, and so I'll just say it again, or I feel that maybe what I'm saying, because I don't understand what I'm saying, it seems complicated, so maybe they'll think, I don't know what the fuck he's saying, so I have to repeat myself over and over again until I get it, and then I think they got it, and that's what ends up happening.
So you just assume everybody is as stupid as you are.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Fair
Yes.
enough.
It really just is a way of talking to yourself.
Yeah. And it works out.
My day normally goes, I'll have like 13 voice messages from him. The first 5 are all about all the things he's going to do with the album when he gets home. The next 7 is how much he hates the people he works with. And then the last one is, never mind.
I'm good.
The bass is good. The bass is good now. I'm good.
I said earlier.
When I get high, it affects my hearing. I don't hear lower bass frequencies. I'm so sorry.
Wait, so can I ask you now, how did you meet?
All right, yeah. So we
Grindr, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Grindr. Yeah, we were cops, and we were trying to arrest people who weren't straight, and we happened to run into. We were gonna rat each other out until we were both like, "Hey, you're a cop," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a cop," and we fucking hit it off. No, seriously though,
I love you guys.
Rachel tells me I have to be more serious with my responses, so okay, here we go. Starting right now. Now we met. I went through a thing a couple years ago where I was adding a bunch of atheists and all this stuff, and I think at some point Jay and I, we added each other, and I remember I was first starting off my YouTube channel and trying to come up with funny things. I remember seeing a couple of his posts, I think, that were funny, or he said something that was funny, or I felt like, hey, I could work with this guy, and then I decided to ask for his help with the videos, and then we just kind of rolled from there. He might have a different version of that story, but that's.
I remember. I remember talking to you about writing. I said I'd like to write for your YouTube channel, but what I meant to say was I have one joke that's been in my head, and if I can write one script, that'll be good, and then it just flew from there.
So are you telling me that I essentially kidnapped you? You were just like, I'm good.
I never had any other idea. I was like a new atheist at the time, and it's like it was just one. I had one joke that I thought would be hilarious that I turned into a script, and then after that it just kept rolling. And then by the second or third script, by that time I was writing the scripts in Pastor Jay's voice.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where he was going to cut, all his little cuts and stuff like that, and I loved it. It was great.
I think one of the things I loved too about working with him and Jeremy on the YouTube channel was the fact that, to me, they both brought a different form of funny. Jeremy is very intelligent with how he delivers his punchlines, right? He's very articulate, so it's impactful, right? And Jay is the kind of person that makes me just giggle laugh all the time with some of the things that he says. And that's with everything. Even when he was working on another podcast, it was the same type of thing. When I edited that podcast, his segments were my favorite, just because I knew I would giggle through the whole thing. So it was a good dynamic right there. And that's why I just wanted to keep working.
So, Jason, are you saying that Jay makes you giggle like a little schoolgirl?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's putting an image in my face, my ears, and my in mind that I am really terrified of. I need you never to say that ever again. Then.
Well,
But that's the reason why I wake up in the mornings, because I know I can make Jason giggle.
for our roleplay website, we have a special offer for friends and acquaintances that if you build up 100 friend points, you can join the website for $100 a day. And I'm dressed up as a schoolgirl. It's pretty cool. So just let me know. Send me some info, and I'll hook you up. He's looking it up right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Actually, yes,
So
I
wait,
am.
so like, how do you work together, given the time differences and the not being in the same place at the same time? Yeah, the distance.
Well, one of the things for me, and you're free to cut me off, Jay. I don't mean to take the spot, but
Yeah, he
don't
does.
cut me off. Oh, Jay, don't say anything. One of the things for me, like I remember some of the bands that I used to listen to back in the day. I think I want to say Filter, but I'll use one of a more famous band, Gorillaz. Those guys, they don't all work in the same. They don't, half of them are out of the country, and so what they do is they work back and forth by sending, their audio tracks. Like this person will write this part, that part, and it goes on and on. They just send the files around. And that's what's great about technology today. But I know that Jay wasn't. I wouldn't say he's not. What are you typing?
Your mother. Goddamn. Just pay. Don't.
How's
Just
she-
keep talking.
Just keep
How's
talking.
she doing? Did she go? Okay.
Oh, she was fabulous last night.
What was I saying? So with Jay though, I knew that like he appreciates music. He understands me very well as far as like my goals and kind of how I want to, put my art out there or whatever. And I knew that even though he couldn't play an instrument, that I could send him concepts that I had and ideas, whether it be lyrical or musical. And I also knew he is a good writer, a great writer, and I knew that it'd be a challenge for him to be, to put lyrics together and everything like that. And it worked. I mean, he not only did he contribute lyrics, but I would say like a good 70% of the songs and the ideas are, motivated by him and some of the concepts he had. Even the way he sang, the way he wrote the music was a lot of that had to do with the way he wrote the lyrics. So it worked out perfectly. And it's this day and age. I mean, it's easy to upload a song idea to Google Drive. He knows me well enough now to know that even if the song is just like 3 chords that I'm playing, he can see kind of where I'm going with the song, which makes it easier for him. So yeah, that's how we kind of make it work. Now,
So how much of some version of The Meaning of Life was yours, Jay?
All of it.
He's like, I wrote the music. I wrote the lyrics.
if the album
Jay-
fails,
Well, see,
yeah,
I can't play an instrument, so like the whole thing in the beginning was a 55-minute long voice clip to Jason, where me going near.
He's like, so
Well,
this is,
it worked.
so I need you to.
Yeah, well, it was
I need you
it
to.
was great.
I need you to translate this to actual music, Jason. So,
Yes, exactly.
And then Jason comes back with this.
The funny
Jay's
story
like,
about
yeah, that's actually about what I meant. Okay.
funny story about that is there's this guy I used to work with who would come up to me and he would be like, "Man, I heard this cool song." I'm like, "What song was it, bro?" And he'd be like, and it would piss me off because I'm like, I literally have no fucking idea. You'd be singing Nickelback's "This Is How You Remind Me," and I'd be like, I don't know. I wouldn't know enough to want to kill you. You know what I mean? And so it became a pet peeve of mine. And I noticed yesterday I was coming home from work. I'm like, man, I got this idea. I forget what the conversation was, but I started doing that to him. I was like, yeah, it's like, it's like a near, but then it's followed with a bud to be you. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm that
You've just
dude.
become that person.
I'm
yeah.
that dude.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I told this story.
I worked in a music store for 15 years, so I am familiar with that. Hey, I really, really want to buy this album, and the main track goes something like this, and then they sing something completely off key, and they might get 2 of the words right, and they can't tell me what the album cover looks like. So I'm like,
Be like,
Yeah.
this
I gotcha.
is how
Buy this
you
instead.
remind me. And you're like, I'm
But
going to
also-
stab you in the ears.
Then all of a sudden you hear the national anthem tune to those lyrics, and you're like, that's not America. That's not.
That there be Canada.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even. Oh, I know there's a couple songs that I wrote, and I know there's a couple that he wrote, and then there was a couple that kind of both worked on, and there's a couple I might have thrown like a line here or there. So it's actually to the point now where it's melted together so well. I really can't even remember.
Yeah. Well, there are a few that I know that you specifically wrote, and I think I need to go back because on my Bandcamp side I'm uploading the music, and I need to make sure because I don't like taking credit if I'm not the one. Even if like I can say I wrote the music, but like there are a couple songs that Jay wrote, and I'm sometimes with me with like if you give me lyrics because the way I work with music because I always write music first. I never intended to sing. And so I got used to that. I got used to writing like the whole structure of a song, and then that's why like half the stuff that I have out there is in instrumental albums because I'm good at that. And so what would happen is I would write a song like the song called "Stay Gone." I went to bed one night, and the album I had like 8 songs already kind of sketched out, and I went to bed, and he sent me the song. For the song "Stay Gone," but he wrote those lyrics to a different song, and I didn't know that. But I got up and it the way I sang the chorus because that's what attracted me to that song and the music. It worked out perfectly, and so that's a case of how like he would do his own thing and I would do my own thing and how it just kind of merged together.
We are Polyaskery. 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 You can find us at Polyaskery pretty much anywhere. Try polyaskery.com. That will lead you, among other places, to our Facebook page, our blog, our Twitter, and our Patreon. Polyaskery. We are here. Join us, but only with the consent of all the people involved.
Jason, like you've been working a lot with podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into doing that?
I think I can't remember if
Desperation.
Yeah, no, I can't remember because I know I've been writing music for a very long time, but I didn't start actually making official albums until like a couple of years ago. So, that's why in the last 2 years I have over 100 songs on my websites, not counting the ones I just won't publish because they're just really dumb sounding. But I was doing that, and so I think among my Facebook friends, and especially as I started, I was a new atheist back then, adding all these people, I think people started to know loosely that, hey, I kind of had something to do with music. And then I took a break from that, and I started doing the YouTube channel, which I think got more people to notice, who I was, and not in a narcissistic, I'm awesome sense, but in a, hey, this guy knows he knows how to do something with creating music or art or whatever. And then in between the YouTube channel, I was releasing more albums, and then I was a producer on the podcast Dogma Debate for a little while, and then I was helping other podcasters, so that kind of got me in the podcast world. And then people started realizing, hey, a lot of this guy's music's instrumental, so that might work. And so people would just ask, can I use a song? Because I'm pretty willing. Excuse me. I got this thing in my throat. I'm pretty willing to always share my music because I like the idea of collaborating, and I know it's hard for people to get intros and stuff like that. And it just kind of grew from there. People just said, hey, let me just.
Jay, do you get is some of that the inspiration of any of this bounced off of you? Like, do you also get input as well when he's doing podcast work?
No.
Well, Jay and I actually kind of took not a break from each other, but he ended up kind of doing his own thing for a while, and I was doing my own thing. So that's why I started my podcast, and that's kind of, I worked with a few people on that and collaborated here and there, but we just did our own thing for a while. So this is the first time since the YouTube channel that Jay and I really worked together as much as we have, and this is probably the most I've worked with him. I mean, literally every day we've talked since October 25th when we started writing this album. Like, there hasn't been a day I don't think that's gone by where we haven't fucked with each other. Like, he knows literally everything about me.
There has been.
Yeah, he knows about me, my personal life, my relationship. He knows more than anybody does. Because I'm not good at like telling the world my problems, but I'm really good at telling Jay my problems. Not that I have problems. You get the point. But everyone's like, "You have relationship problems?" Like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
No, dude. But, I'm talking about. I was hitting it doggy style. That's not a relationship problem.
But no, what's great though too is the next album. We're going to start on another project right after this.
Yay!
Well, we're going to take our time with this one. We definitely want to do one more by this year, but we're just going to not be as rushed as this album. But this time we're going to get our friend Jeremy back. And so, he was also a huge part of the YouTube channel. So,
and then you become JJ.
Yeah, JJ. We should just do our side project, JJ. And just spell it JJ. But I'm excited about that because, like I said, I think we all bring different things to the table. I'm sort of a nihilist, so I have a who fucking cares about anything type of attitude.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit, yeah. But and Jay brings a lot of the sort of snarkiness, sort of the underhanded, snarky attitude to it. And it's funny. It's not annoying, and Jeremy brings the intelligence to the group. And he brings like the smarts to the group, so to speak.
So I don't know if y'all know this. There's this guy on my Facebook page named Tim Robertson. And
yeah.
Okay. So you see his stuff, right? Like those one-liners that he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you can get him on a thing, or let me get permission, I'll like just interject those little one-liners that he does on Facebook in random parts of your album, and just be like, yeah, so here's this Cheeto boy, and he's president now, and people are like, we're talking about fucking love and romance, and all of a sudden you're talking about goddamn Donald Trump. What the fuck?
I like his posts because I tend to think that I write some off. If you've seen like my last two posts, are just like, what the fuck are you on kind of posts. And I get that way with him. He's like one of the only people that when I see him post, I'm like, I like what you did there, but I'm confused as to how you did it.
Like you just kind of want to know what's in his brain to make him
Yeah, it's like, it's brilliant. I'm just confused how you got there. That's awesome. I want to get there.
Wait.
So, Jay, what were you doing when you guys were taking a break from each other? You said that you had something else going on.
Yeah, I was doing another podcast. I was writing and acting into a podcast that I'm not going to name at this time.
Okay.
But I was doing that.
we just want to be fair and nice and not talk bad about people.
That's fair.
So yeah, I was doing that, and I was having a good time with it. I enjoy writing, but once again, it was one of those things where all I've ever wanted to do was write. I didn't want to be up front, and then I was talked into not only writing this character out, but then acting it, and I've never acted a day in my life. So
he did very well, by the way. He did very well, by the way.
Pushed into that, so it was like, oh man. And so now I got to write, now I got to record it, and I was doing that for a while, and then just that kind of disappeared, like last June, I think.
And not to speak for Jay, but I think what makes me and Jeremy and Jay and anybody I work with, what makes the dynamic work is I think we all have this agreement that what we're doing, we're just enjoying that. That's the number one thing. Like my mom asked me yesterday if I was making money off this, and I said, everyone, fans, they can pay what they want, but I just enjoy the process, and I figure it doesn't take a lot out of me to create a song. It takes less out of me to post it. If people want to pay, it's good. It's cool. Helps me out, but if they don't, I'm glad they get to enjoy something that I created. And I think, that's what works with Jay and I. It's like when we do this, it's not about how many clicks we can get, how many people can like our stuff. And that's why we suck at promoting, because it's just, our end game is different. And we're more relaxed. There's no goals. There's no deadlines. We just want to create art. And if we can, we will. And if we can't, we'll just do something else until we can again.
All right. So what I want to do is I will take over the promotion, and I'll start promoting y'all. And
okay.
I'll also start taking over the website for you, so I can take away that thing. Don't pay attention to any bank account changes.
Wait. I can just give you my bank account information if that'll make it easier. I just don't want to.
I'm gonna say this sounds familiar.
Do me a favor. I'll just give you my info.
Yeah, okay.
Well, do me a favor and make the whole thing a whole lot more mobile friendly.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work on that. And I'll just come to you with random ass requests. So are you going to be dropping another album? When are you going to drop it? Okay, I'm going to start going ahead and prepping, and just when you're ready to drop it. And so then we'll go from there. Hey, I'm also going to do your website.
Oh, no.
I'm going to redesign your website for you because it looks like shit. And
it does. I agree with you. It does.
And so, but I'm going to need you to pay me $50 a month for me to redesign your website and maintain it for you.
Well, since you're doing me a favor, I'll give you $100. Just to kind of help you out. I'm sure you guys.
No,
man, I appreciate that.
A month. Oh.
Yeah, because I've got to pay for all the rest of the shit that I have to do to actually do his website correctly.
So $200.
So there you go, $200.
You'll have my bank account info. So
I'll do a once a month withdrawal of whatever.
You don't have a joint account with your partner, do you?
No,
not yet.
So I'll just do a once a month of withdrawal of whatever's in there.
Okay.
Usually the day after your payday, before your bills are paid.
Well, just to make it easier on you, I get paid twice a month, so just go in twice a month and take what you need.
No.
Okay.
I want you to be able to eat and drink and smoke weed. I don't care about your bills, though.
I don't either. That's why,
That's why you have Rachel.
Yeah.
She pays all the bills from her account, and she's like, "Why are you always broke?" Baby, it's
literally
the price.
True.
It's the price of being a musician. No, you're supposed to be making money. Well, somebody is. It's not me, though.
That's my manager. Hey, with my website for the music, the main website, I might have to switch at some point just to make it more mobile friendly. But for anybody that decides to use it, my Bandcamp is a lot. It's the same exact stuff on both websites. It's just Bandcamp. You can download higher resolution, WAV files. And you can, it's easy to scroll through on a phone, whereas, so you can use, you can decide which one you want to use, but they're both the same thing.
So why don't you do iTunes?
Well, I think, and I don't know how much longer they'll be there, but iTunes is on, I have 4 albums out on iTunes right now, but the thing is, and I haven't done my research, so if anybody has any more information, please let me know, but with iTunes, what I did is I went through this service called TuneCore, and they're like a music site, and what they'll do is they will distribute your music for you. They'll create the RS3 feed or whatever they're called, and they'll send them out to Spotify or iHeartRadio, whatever you have, and they also send your shit to iTunes. But the problem with that is, in order to keep everything active, I have to pay $50 per album per year. And right now, with the 4 albums I have, I'd have to pay $200 to keep those albums out, not to mention this new album. And I just don't get paid enough money, with the music.
Because you suck at promotion.
I suck at promotion, and it's just, I don't even get, if I even broke even, I'd be fine with it. But it's just, and the other thing, too, is, iTunes is great, but there are so many other artists out there. One of the most notable ones is Cloud Kicker. And of course, he does a lot more promotion with his stuff. He's got merch, and maybe someday I'll do that. We'll see how much I can do with that stuff. But he's got stuff on iTunes too, but he makes a lot of his money through just Bandcamp. And so iTunes is great, but it's not the only thing out there. And like I said, if I was making money off of this, I would keep iTunes, but it's not worth it for me. So,
okay, so if somebody were to buy one of your albums in order to be able to listen on their whatever device, what's the place that's going to be most lucrative for you?
Well, both of the websites go to the same thing. They both go to my PayPal. And so either way is fine. It's just, with both websites, it's a pay if you want. So if you go to download the song, it's going to ask you to put in a price, but you can type in 0.00 and still get the music for free.
You're not supposed to tell people that, dude.
Well, again, I want to be a fair artist, and I want people to, I'm much more happy with getting people to listen than I am making the money off those people. I want to, but the thing about with Bandcamp is it's the same thing, pay if you want, but if you pay money, I think you have the option at that point to download the WAV files and not the MP3s.
So why don't you do a Patreon thing? Why don't you set up a Patreon?
Because I think in my brain, and I've done Patreon before, but again, with a lot of the stuff I've done, it's never been to where I would I think the whole time I was doing Know the Truth, I had like 2 patrons, and one of them was just somebody because she thought, she was my best friend. And so, it just became more of a hassle for me, so I just got lazy with that. And I just, because I'm fine with just doing art and I'm fine with people that do Patreon. It's just one of those things for me. It wasn't worth the time for me to keep up with it because I was making, $2 a month off that. And so I just said, fuck it, I don't care. I'll just do my own thing. And also with the music, though, with Patreon, I feel like people are getting something, right? You guys have a Patreon. People know that every week, every 2 weeks or whatever, they're going to get a show. With writing music, like I said, Jay and I, we're going to start, once this album releases, we're going to take a couple weeks to do our own thing, and then we're just going to get back into it because we got a lot to go over. And who knows? I mean, we want this next album to come out by the end of the year, but who knows? It could turn into a double album, and then it might take till December. And now if people are giving me Patreon money and they're paying once a month, they're not getting anything until December. And it's just, I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Wait, why not? You put some stuff out to some of your friends and said, hey, take a listen to this and what do you think? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be hard to put out clips on Patreon and just say, hey, this is where I'm working.
Actually,
this is what it looks like right now.
So actually, I'll tell you.
You're talking to the right person. Like Shane's passionate about being a dork on the computer.
Yeah, we'll get offline because I don't want to tell anybody my secrets. But I will tell you.
Well, let me say that's a good idea. I never thought about that. I mean, because Jay bears the brunt of if he I think I do too, but he probably has the originals of every song we've worked on. And to see that progression, I think that'd be a cool thing. Yeah, maybe I'll set something up and we'll just be like, hey, once a week we'll give you a new tune that we're working on. It won't be the full thing, and it's going to sound like shit, but at least you can see how the songs progress. And that's something we can talk about. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that.
Well, let me tell you a story about something that Riss McCool was talking to us about. She actually that's kind of how she wrote her book. Was she was using her Patreon and she was doing just writings, and so she would release a chapter of the book, and people would read it if they were Patreons, and they would some people would go through and kind of do the grammar Nazi edit, and so hey da 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 da, but other people were like, well, hey, can you expand on this concept? Can you expand on this concept? What about can you?
Not to cut you up, but that's great. That's a great idea because one of my biggest struggles with working with people, like with Jay, I can abuse him all I want. He decided, he agreed to make that decision to be part of this band. So he's
nodding.
Yeah, but with anybody else, anybody that has, and you ask anybody that I've sent the master files to, I always say, hey, here it is. If you want to listen, you can. If you don't, that's fine. But if you listen and you want to give me critique, and go ahead. And people are good about that, but I feel like some people may be shy or whatever. But I also think if I did a Patreon like that and people had the option to kind of do what they did with Marissa's on Patreon, like correcting grammar, having people ask her to expound on certain points, I think that'd be a really cool thing to have fans give, pay what they want for Patreon and then be able to say, hey, that song that you posted last week, that demo for this, hey, I don't like this part, or this part could be better, or sing this with more feeling this time, or something. That might be good, because then it won't be it won't just be like, because before Jade became part of this, A Lost State of Mind was all me. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just saying it's a chore when it's all by yourself, when you're doing it all by yourself. But having Jade, be part of that burden with me has made the burden a lot less. It's made me enjoy this album. It's made me write this album more differently than I've written an album. I can't imagine what it'd be like to have more people involved. So that's a good idea.
We'll talk about it offline. So
Well, you're getting feedback from more ears too,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or this could turn into a whole new anxiety level for you because you're trying to please so many different people, and your music comes off sounding like shit. You're like, one person wants your voice deeper, one person wants this bass line to bump a little bit more, and you're just like, I can't make both of you happy, man.
Well, just take the feedback and do what you want.
That's right, yeah, and then people would have to understand that it's one of those deals.
We're just going to become a bunch of sellouts.
Well, no, I mean, just the idea, because I love working with people, and I love
for $50 a year.
Like, I don't mind critiquing with my music. I just hate it when the music's already out, and then people are like, "You could have done it." Well, I'm not going to do it differently. It's already out, But if it's during the process, it's great. But there could also be that caveat of, hey, you can give me your Patreon money and you can give me ideas, but I just at the end of the day, it's the band.
It's still your music.
Yeah. But I think people would enjoy the opportunity to at least be able to have a say, and that'd be cool. Yeah, it's an idea to play around with, But again, from the first thing in my brain is the art, and that's what I'm willing to get frustrated with. That's what I'm willing to spend most of my time with. And if it's the Patreon thing becomes one of those things where it's just too much, then I'm just gonna stick to the art.
So here's no lie. Legitimately, and I know I was joking about it earlier, I love making money, even if it's not my own money. And so, I love doing creative processes and things like that. But my creativity lies in how can I make someone or myself stupid money.
Yeah.
And so you focus on the music. Jay will focus on smoking weed and giving you words. And Jeannie.
And it's the other way around. He focuses on the music. I focus on smoking.
Oh, okay. I'll focus on making sure your website looks good and your Patreon, and Jeannie will just be the mother, and she'll just be like, "Okay, kids, I need y'all to do something this week."
Hey, Shane, is it time for you to wake up yet?
5 more minutes, Mom.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations on being the first and only podcast to do an interview at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Congratulations, by the way.
Fuck that bullshit. I did not sign up for this, by the way. Jeannie calls me at 9:15. She's talking about, sweetie, are you awake? Okay.
What he doesn't mention... What he didn't mention is that was my 8th phone call to him.
Yeah, whenever I go to wake up Rachel, it's, sweetie, are you awake? And she's like, rawr.
So it's aloststateofmind.com, like Jeannie said earlier, and this is Jason Comeau and Jay Crofutt. And
it's also aloststateofmind.bandcamp.com too, just in case people would prefer that website over the main website.
I would say go to
Shane will link all your shit.
Yeah, and okay. I would say go to the Bandcamp episode because I haven't fixed his website yet. When I fix it, it'll be amazeballs.
The Bandcamp website.
The Bandcamp I'm not going to fucking touch, but hey, whatever. Okay, guys,
Bitch your shit.
What was the? Fuck.
He hates me so much.
Try to be serious, G. Come on, leave alone.
So this is me being serious.
So, guys, what's your favorite song on this album?
I know Jay's.
Mine is probably "The Day I Die." It's probably my favorite, only because in the early processes of that song was almost thrown away pretty early. I literally had to talk Jason into not throwing that away.
And then what I ended up doing is adding a chorus, and then Jay.
Yeah, he ended up. Yeah.
Yeah, once I added the chorus, because originally the song was kind of just short and repetitive, and it was missing something. So I was like, I'm going to toss it. And he's like, bitch. I was like, all right, give me a second. So I added a simple, like, when you listen to just the guitar in the chorus, it's just like a punk riff that I'm playing, even though the song isn't at all in any way punk. And once he heard that part, he's like, dude, I will literally murder you now if you get rid of this song. I was like, all right, I'll keep it.
And that was actually the first, that was probably the first time I actually, like, stood up to him. Because I know he said before, like, hey, if there's something you don't like, tell me and we'll get rid of it or we'll redo it or something like that. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is like your 10th album or something. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to fucking write music. And, but that was the first time I was like, no, this thing there's something that I didn't know how to put it into words, but there was just something about it that I liked. And I said, we got to do something with this. And he says, well, let me think about writing a chorus. And it was probably 2 days later.
Yeah.
And he goes,
and even though oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said, hey, check this out. And I listened to it. And then the first time I heard the chorus of that thing, I literally had like the hair in the back of my neck stood up and got goosebumps. And I was like, dude, yeah, we got it.
Well, what's crazy about that?
And that was early on.
What's crazy about that song in particular is one of the few songs I've written where it actually started off in my brain as one thing and it turned into something like, because most of the album is sort of like snarky. It's kind of like our viewpoint of the world based on social media, based on news, based on the interactions we have with people. And there's a lot of songs that have meanings that you have to look into. You know, on the surface, they'll seem like one thing, but with this song, I wrote the chorus because I was amused by the fact that whenever somebody dies, a celebrity dies on Facebook, everyone cares. But more to the point, I have a few friends that whenever somebody that they kind of don't really know, they die, that friend will make it about them and they'll talk about how sad they are. And I thought of this concept of this is kind of an interesting thing of, on the day that I die, will you then love me at that point? That was my question because people seem to really love people when they're not around anymore. And but then then Jay started working on some concepts because, I don't think he or I really like to share with the world the problems that we go through except for in sort of a backhanded, abstract way. And this song sort of kind of evolved into that. So it sounds like an emo song, but when you take in those two meanings, you kind of like, the one deep meaning during the verses and the one on the surface observation, it kind of, I'm really high right now, but trust me, it doesn't mean you're right.
Wait, so Jay, what is Jason's favorite song? Or is that a shared one?
If I had to guess, I'd probably say Dirty.
Yeah. I mean, Triggered is a close second just because of the funkiness of the song and the fact that Alex Jones is in the song.
Alex Jones agreed to do it, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Alex Jones is going to sue the fuck out of you when you release that. You know that, right? I know.
Or because he has an ego, he might go, this is a fucking cool song, and I can say, Alex, it's about you. It's a good thing, man. Plus, I have a strong suspicion that he's really a big troll. And so, anyway. But yeah, my favorite song would be the song Dirty. And, the inspiration came from a specific person, but the song in itself is sort of like, this day and age, we see so many people throwing out, insults to other people. They'll say, you're this person, you're that person, you're a bad person, you're a snowflake, you're this, you're that. But, I look at a lot of people and, again, it is social media, but you start to see different reactions that people have for different things. And you start to understand that, calling somebody a name or saying something like, oh, you're just a big baby or whatever, is like calling somebody that's driving like a shithead on the road a bad driver. You can't do that because you're also a bad driver too. Like, we all suck at driving. And it's the same thing with this. Like, this whole song is about, look, you're this type of person, but you're just as dirty as me, so stop accusing me. It's kind of that. It's kind of a cheesy, idea, but the song itself is very I guess, poppy. And I like what the chorus says. And it has a nice color to the song. That's why I kind of dig it a lot more than the rest. But
it's one of my favorite songs too.
Oh, nice.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to wrap up the show with that. Normally we do a kink, but we've got a lot of really good content, and for our Patreon guys and girls, we're going to actually have a lot of the back and forth that we did before the show, and a lot of some of the in-show stuff that I'm going to cut out. We're going to have that at the end of the episode for y'all to listen to.
So we can't talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator?
Yeah, that's my kink. That's the end of the segment.
Yeah.
That's my kink.
Jason, Jay, how can people get a hold of y'all? The actual, so that Jay's not bombarded with 147 emails after this.
I'm on Facebook at just my first and last name, Jason Comeau. It's C-O-M as in monkey, E-A-U. And I also I have a bunch of emails. If anybody wants to email me, it's a lost state of mind at gmail.com. And that's how you, just in general, that's how you get a hold of me.
Okay.
Any
Jay,
Pastor J info in there? I'm sorry.
Well, as far as the other stuff, at least on my end and on our end, you can go, like for the old Pastor J stuff that's on YouTube, that's Know the Truth, but it's spelled K-O-N-W, the T-R-U-T. And then I have another YouTube channel called Music Deconstructed, where I break down, I do guitar playthroughs of my music, and I break down how I created the song. And then I have a podcast also called Know the Truth, spelled the same way, and it's an audio drama based off the same character. And then the websites for the music, and that's our current project, is aloststateofmind.com, which isn't mobile friendly. And I have aloststateofmind.bandcamp.com. Both websites, you can download the music for free. It's just going to ask you to pay. You just got to put $0.00 if you don't want to pay any money. That's fine. But Jeannie's flipping me off because she wants people to pay me money. But I'm like a joker. I don't care about money. No, I'm just kidding.
Your turn, Jay.
I got to follow all that up.
You got a phone number?
Well,
I got
half of the shit that he just pitched was part of you. So
yeah, it's you and me, dude.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook at J Crofutt, Crofutt. I promise you, I'm the only one.
I've been meaning to ask you, is that your real last name?
That is my real last name. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and as always, you can get a hold of Polyaskery at polyaskery@gmail.com, and you can find us on all the social things if you just Google Polyaskery, Polyaskery. Jeannie, how can people find you, sweetie?
I am pretty much Jean Eicherd, Jeanneikerd. I am my real self all the time. Also through Polyaskery. Through search pretty much anywhere.
So, Lee Zyferjack and Marissa McCool, we really appreciate you giving us money for us essentially just talking, and that's cool. Thank you so much, guys. And that's a wrap. Jason, Jay, thank you so much for being here. Jeannie, thank you for sitting in the corner. No. Jeannie, thank you for being on as well.
I'm sorry, suck my what?
Oh. Yes, ma'am. So, this has been a production of Polyaskery Podcast, and thank you so much. And we're going to leave you with a song by Jason Comeau and Jay Crofutt, A Lost State of Mind.